And I dated him from 2013 to 2015. And we broke up in the worst circumstances ever. I wouldn't say he deceived me, I just didn't see the signs. He got up from my bed and went for his own wedding. And it just broke me, devastated me. And I think I was in a state of need, emotional need. I just wanted what I lost. So 2015, February 13th, I went into a club to celebrate. Actually, a friend of mine knew how depressed I was from my breakup. And they took me to club to celebrate. And the club is not a place where you actually find me as a person. But I just needed that space. I just needed to just unwind, to clear my head. And on the 13th of February 2015, I met my son's father. He was not initially Mr. X, but as a girl, I had flaunted this relationship so much. He had got me so much exotic gifts. He had done so much for me that even other girls were like, you know what, I want to have a Mr. X in my life. For that relationship to have broken off, I was so ashamed. I was so broken. I couldn't come out to say, you know what, my relationship had been broken. So when I met my son's father, February 2015, mind you, Mr. X had existed from 2013 or 14. When I met him, we met him in the club. I met him in the club 13th night, and we never saw again. I left the club on my own. I don't know if he left the club on his own, but I left the club, and 3 days later we started to talk. And because I was an emotional wreck, I needed a new relationship. I needed some sort of consolation, and he was there. So we got dating, and that's how I declared him Mr. X. Well, initially, he was never Mr. X. He was never the person who got me all those exotic gifts or nothing. Well, it's not because I was ashamed. It was more he gave in to the idea of being called Mr. X because he wanted to be popular. And it was something that, you know, if you do this, we're going to get popular, you're going to get richer. I mean, he was my man, anything to make him get respected in public. So that was the case. So the gift angle are different because before I was married or before I met him, there were lots of exotic gifts. And after I got married, there was the car gift. So it depends on what gift you're talking about. Well, yes, I did sell the car. And yes, I also said I sold the car in my very and only first interview that I did with Azuka, the woman who betrayed me and got bribed by my son's father. I did an interview with her, and I said I sold the car because that was the only property in my possession. I had a son. I was leaving the marriage. I was not going to leave the marriage empty. Like I said on Instagram, if I saw his soul, I would have sold it. If there was any other property that he had apart from that car, I would have sold it because I was a wife, not a girlfriend. I have a son for you, I have a child for you. So that's it. On the car issue, I was pregnant and I went to give birth. I was in America then. Before now, we've had so much hardship. So much hardship. He had not been able to provide for me. I met him broke and I married him broke. So when I was in America, the joy of your husband sending you pictures, oh, I got you this car. I was elated. I was happy. I was overwhelmed that, oh, you know what? Look at how much this guy could not even pay for a wedding, to the fact that now he is buying me a car. I was very happy. So I did post it on Instagram. But I never knew that the car was not even in my name. I never knew that the car was not even my own. Because he knows that I'm a kind of person who wears my heart on my sleeve. If I love you, you would know it. The world would know it. If I don't like you, it's very evident. If I want to love you, it's evident. So there is no in between. It's either black or white. So he knew that the excitement will make me post those videos. And that's where I would always say that he's a narcissist. He sits down and he plots everything that he does. He knew I was going to post that picture. So when I posted it, and by the time I came back to Nigeria, I never used to drive after I gave birth to my son. I had a driver and my friend. I had a very good friend then that used to take me someplace because I didn't even know Abuja. So there was a day she got into trouble with the law and they needed the owner of the car. So she had to come get me. So I went there to the law office and they said, Madam, I know that you're Tonto, but you need to get the vehicle papers. So I had to go back home. I opened our safe. That was the first time I ever saw the car papers. I looked at the papers. It wasn't my name. It wasn't even my son's father's name. It was just a neutral name, and the price there was, I think, 16 or 15 million naira. So I wasn't bothered about it. But by the time I asked him, he didn't have any good explanation to give to me. So for me, I was like, you know what? Even if it's not in my name, as far as he said he bought the car for me, what belongs to my husband, it's mine. So that was how I got to post that video, that picture, like it was mine. And now I didn't sell the car while I was living in his house. I sold the car the very day I left his house and saying I did not want the marriage again. It was the only property that was available because the house we lived in was rented. I know that he said that it was bought, but it was rented. It was rented and it was furnished. It came with everything, even to the pillows. I think I only bought like 2 or 3 pillows from America to add up to the pillows at home, and a dining table. That is all we bought and contributed into that home. So there was nothing for me to have sold. So I sold the only possession, which was a car, which I didn't really need. I have cars in Port Harcourt. I have my G-Wagon in Port Harcourt. I have my Hummer. I had my Hummer. I still had my FJ Cruiser. No, sorry, not my FJ Cruiser. My FX Infinity. I still had I had one other small car. One of that Toyota. So I still had all those things I'd already sent to my family. So I didn't really need a car. I needed the money so I could start up a new life, and that's what I did. Now looking back, I think it was all the lies. It was all the lies because everything I ever liked about him was a lie. I'm not saying that I went out there to say I want to date or I want to get married to a who is in Nigeria. But I am Tonto. You don't expect me to get married to a pauper. So definitely when he said I am Obasanjo's son, when his own mother told me I'm Obasanjo's wife, it was a plus for me. It was a plus. When you tell me that the house that I'm coming to Ghana to visit is your own property, because it was a large property. He said it was his own property, which he could never even prove ownership. And it would still come up because I have proof of someone embarrassing us on Instagram about the house not being his own, and he's owing, and he's destroyed the whole property. So when you get to hear about a life that you can live with a man, that you don't have to extremely worry. When I knew that he was broke and I understood that, okay, this is the situation, I get broke. Everybody gets broke. That's life. Every good businessman or good businesswoman should get broke because you put in your money and wait for more to come in. So that was the situation I thought that this man was in. I never knew it was fraud. I never knew it was Yahoo, that the money will come this year and in 5 years you are out of money till maybe another. That's how it is for some of them. So that was not what I thought. I was told that this man is into IT. Until date, there is nothing on the face of the earth that has shown that this man has done any IT job for anybody. I didn't go out getting married to a 419 person. I've been duped in the past. And it's something that I do know that carries a lot of cost spiritually, because I know how much I insulted the person who stole even just 100 naira from me. Well, I wouldn't take all of that away. Maybe I felt something, but right now sitting down here, I would not like to call it love, because it was never based on the truth. It was based on lies. So it was infatuation. He didn't pay for anything at all. You see, a lot of people say, oh, you're very stupid. Oh, you paid for your wedding. You're very desperate. No, it didn't happen that way. I lived here in Nigeria and he lived in Ghana. Whenever he came here, he lived with me. Whenever I went to Ghana, I lived with him. So that was how the relationship was. When we were planning our wedding, I was here in Nigeria, he was in Ghana. And all he kept saying was, baby, go ahead and spend. Baby, go ahead and spend. I will repay you back. You see what? The reason I actually did this interview is because I have a lot of proof. I have a lot of documents to back up everything I said. This is, first of all, I'd like to say there is no kind of proof in this world that stands out than a conversation between two people. Now, I cannot forge a document about somebody else. The network would sue me, the person would sue me. So if this is not his number, I would be sued. Now, these are documents of me asking this man to pay me back the money I used in marrying him. In this document also, you would also see his replies. There is also a document stated here when I said that he never gave me any money, and he acknowledged it, that he never gave me any money for. I said, Ola, the only money you gave me for the wedding is 1.7 million. Even your family contributed 1 million inside this money. You asked me to keep spending my money. You would pay me back. I don't know why it's an issue now. Is 1.7 million my bride price, or is that what bought the drinks, flew you there, paid for hotel, and fed you? My friend's boyfriend paid for the hotel that my husband slept with me in, made love to me in on the day of my wedding. It was another man that paid for it. To the drinks of my wedding, I paid for it. I flew my ex-husband down from Ghana to Nigeria, to my village, to get married to me. His uncle, God bless him, he's a pastor, gave me 1 million naira through my son's father. That is the 1.7 million I was talking about. Then my son's father gave me two different money, 300,000 naira once and 400,000 naira once, which is making 700,000, which I never used that money for the wedding, because by the time it came in, I'd already spent and I've already dispatched all the money that was out. So yes, these are all the documents that shows that Olakunle Churchill was married by a woman's money. It's here. So if you say that this is not your number, Olakunle Churchill, I will prove to the world that this is your number. I will go to every network that you use and I'll prove to them that this is your number, because this is your number. And these are all the proof that you, even in here, he negotiated my bill. Because when I asked him for this money was after we got married. I knew that I wanted to leave him. So I started asking for all of my properties. I just wanted to, in disguise, to take everything I had and leave. So I started to ask him for it. And at the end of this, he paid me 10 million naira. That was 2016 December. That was the month I left him. That's when he gave me 10 million naira as a cover for everything I did. In here is also a message that he asked me that I should, that how much, she said, baby, how much have you spent so far from the introduction up to date? Give me. That's what he does sometimes. So if I ask him for my money for too much, then he will now say, oh, send me. And in the next 1 month, he doesn't send my money anymore. So these are all the proof that I paid to marry this man, and this man did not spend a dime, not even for food. Actually, 3 days ago, he actually said that in an interview. The interview is on Stella Dimoko. I would send it to you so that it can come up on screen. I actually have the short code to it. He said that there was never a wedding, that there were only 4 people and it was a parlor wedding.
There was no marriage. There was just like knocking. No celebrity came. You didn't even call an artist. You didn't call any of your friends. Just 4 of us. Me, my mom, and 2 other people. What we had was a parlor thing, but they celebrated. We were to do the...
Now, there were 250 people in attendance sitting down in my wedding. Then the whole village, 3 communities before my village, they all came out because my father is a big deal from where I come from. So they all came out. I had over 1,000 people at my wedding, and these are pictures to prove it. These are pictures. Zoom in. These are pictures of different people. There is a video. There's a dancing video of the two of us. You see the crowd, you see the mopos. My father had to get almost 12 lorries of mopos because of protection. And this man went to a court and told the court that I paid for my wedding because there were only 4 people. I know people sit at home and say, you know, this girl is very stupid. You paid for your wedding. Why did you pay for your wedding? You are desperate. Why did you pay for your wedding? No, I was pregnant for this man. This man, I was a walking scam for this man. Like I told you, he already told me, stay, okay, don't worry. Continue spending your money. I will reimburse you when I come back. What was I going to say? What was I going to do? Not spend? Not do it? Did I even know I was going to get scammed or going to get... I didn't know all of these things. Because if I knew, I would not be the person. I would not be the person to be in this situation, trust me. So this is the wedding attended by only 4 people. That is his mother there that sprayed me 2,000 naira in 200 naira notes. That is his mother there, dressed in ashwebi. On the pictures on the slide, my father was wearing ashwebi. I was wearing ashwebi. Even to the dress this man wore. He doesn't even know who tailored his dress. I bought materials. I took his dresses to a tailor. I sold his clothes. Bought him a shoe. Just to come for a wedding that I paid for. And you tell me that 4 people attended only that wedding? 4 people? Kule, 4 people? Well, the truth is, you will say there was no wedding because you never paid for a wedding. I paid for the wedding. So I know there was a wedding. I know there was a wedding. And the world knows that there was a wedding too. I seriously don't want to break down because aside from the first time I did my interview, that was the only point where I was weak. Right now, I'm not weak. I'm a tiger. Right now, I'm a tiger out for blood. So there is no weakness here. I feel terrible. I feel bad. I feel used. I am the biggest scam that Churchill or Lakunle or Laduni has ever played in his life. I never wanted to have a child. I've always said it on all my interviews. So I was not using a child to trap a man. There was no reason for me to use a child to trap a man because I had said it in all my interviews. I don't want to have children. And I didn't want to have children for my personal reasons. I had mommy issues. My mother died. I was scared of losing myself and losing I just didn't want to go down that road. I met some man who I thought was a human being, who cajoled me, lied to me, beat me into getting what he wanted. I'm not going to keep quiet anymore. No. Yes. The first interview I did, which was with Azuka, the woman who actually deceived me to take an interview for me and got bribed by King's father. Now, I gave them this picture. There's a picture of me here, and there's also another picture. This one, my son's father actually released him. His media people actually released it to the internet, on the internet. This is actually a video of me trying to hit him. And if you look closely on this video, you will know that my face has been battered. My face had potholes, like you could see all of that. Now, I'm sure the video will also play. Now, this is also one of my pictures. This is a black eye. I also gave them a picture of one of my ribs. This is a black eye. I gave it to them, and they said that I made this up like it was a makeup artist. I want to appeal to the whole of Nigeria and all the makeup artists in Africa, Nigeria, everywhere I've ever traveled to. If you did this makeup for me, please, it is not time for you to keep quiet. Come out and speak and call me a liar that I did a makeup for this. I have been told that they were going to take this picture for forensic. I was so happy when they said that. It's been 3 years now, nobody has brought out a